Hello everyone. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of you on the new academic year 2015-2016. Basically, the endocrine system includes all of the glands of the body and the hormones that are regulated and produced by those glands. In fact, these glands are controlled by nervous system or receptors that are located on those glands via hormones. You have to bear in your mind that these hormones are control many functions in our body, like homeostasis, metabolism, sexual reproduction, in addition to sexual development, also control digestion, in addition to body temperature and other many functions. I think it is very interesting to have a look. Hormonal coordination in living organisms. Endocrine system. We have seen that the nervous system, through all its components, nerve centers, nerve nets, and sensory, in addition to motor nerves, controls and coordinates the activities of organs so that they can perform function in harmony. The belief was dominant for quite a long time until many experiments have been carried on animals and men showed that the body contains a group of specific organs which also controls activities of the body in completely different way. These organs manufacture chemical substances and send them through the bloodstream to different body tissues where they affect their activity and controls the rate. Thus, we can say that such organ assist the nervous system in coordination are called hormones. The hormones must be secreted in a suitable amount to carry out their function with a great efficiency. If excessive secretion or deficiency of secretion occurs, leads to disturbance in function and results in pathological changes, symptoms, characteristics for these hormones. Hormones, they are chemical substances synthesized by endocrine glands. As you see now on the screen, the endocrine glands that secrete these hormones. Also, these hormones are secreted by ductless glands, endocrine glands, directly into the bloodstream. Observe now, it is obvious in the bloodstream. Hormones secreted in the bloodstream and carried to the other way. Most of the hormones are in the form of stimulation of other glands or organs. Discovery of animal hormones. Claude Bernard is the first scientist. In 1855, he was interested in studying function of the liver, considered the stored sugar in the liver as an internal secretion. You observe that the liver stored excess glucose in the form of polysaccharides called glycogen. Also, external secretion called bile. So the liver is considered as internal secretion and external secretion. The bile, previously you have studied the bile that help in fat digestion in the previous year. Starling, the second scientist, in 1905, Starling notes that the pancreas secretes its digestive juice at the time food is reaching the duodenum. Although in his experiment he cut any nervous connection between the pancreas and other organs, as you see now, he deduced that there is other stimulus other than nervous system, other than nervous stimulus. He later knew that the mucous membrane lining of the duodenum, as you see now on the screen, the mucous membrane lining the duodenum secretes special chemicals, substances that passes into the bloodstream, and on reaching the pancreas directly stimulates the liver to secrete its juice at the correct time. Also, he gave the name hormones for these chemical messengers. In fact, hormones is a Greek word that literally means activators, research, increase, and the scientific field go in progress, thus enable scientists to know the endocrine system in the human body. Another topic, plant hormones. The first scientist that talked about that, Boyce and Johnson, in 1913, was able to explain the phototropism of growing point in view of auxin's plant hormones. You have studied the sensation in plant and the auxin in the previous year. I think you have an idea about that. Observe that on the screen, the effect of the auxin, either in phototropism, either positively or negatively. He proved that the connection between the receptors and the region of curvature occurs due to the auxin, which are secreted by the up of cubital stem. This causes curvature. You can observe that when exposed to sun from unidirection, meaning one direction, it bends towards light. So it is positive phototropic, as you studied in the previous year. In plants, there are no special glands, but there are cells, especially in growing points and buds, to secrete chemicals. They affect the function process in the plant other than where they are secreted. The importance of auxins. They have great effect in organizing and development of tissues. They also affect the growth, whether positively or negatively. They control the formation of flowers, leaf fall, fruit formation, and ripening. They affect the functional process of all cells and tissues of the plant, enable human to alter the growth of plants to suit his needs, and so open new horizons for the welfare of human beings. Hormonal regulation in men. The scientists were able to know the function of hormones through: number one, the study of symptoms results from enlargement or removal of one of endocrine glands in man and animals. The study of the chemical structures of extracts of endocrine glands and their effects on different vital activities. Characteristics of hormones. They are organs, chemical substances. Some of them consist of complex proteins. As you see now on the screen, the structure of some hormones. Chemically, it appears consists of many rings. Other hormones are simple compounds, such as amino acids or steroids. Also, hormones secreted in very small amounts, estimated in micrograms, 1/1000 milligram. They have great effect on human activities, which are represented by the following function: body growth, reproduction, sexual maturity, food metabolism, utilizing of food, human behavior, and emotional and intellectual development, angerness, happiness, violence, sadness, feelings, and so on. Many emotional function controlled by hormones. They regulate the internal environment, homeostasis of the body. Now we're going to study glands in human being. There are 3 kinds of glands in human being. First of all, exocrine glands. They are named the glands of external secretion. It consists of secretory part, as you see now on the screen, the part that secrete enzymes, sweat, or tears. Special duct, as you see, or system of ducts. Their secretion carried by ducts to the cavity inside the body, like salivary and digestive glands, in addition to the sweet gland. Observe, it is obvious secretory part and the duct that leads to the cavity. Endocrine glands, it is the second type. They are named glands of internal secretion. It is ductless gland, meaning it secretes from a special organ directly into the bloodstream. They secrete their secretion into the bloodstream, as you see now on the screen. And the bloodstream are responsible for carrying these hormones to the target organ. They secrete hormones. Only hormones the endocrine glands secrete. But the exocrine, as studied previously, can secrete sweat, enzymes, tears, and others. But endocrine, only hormones. Mixed glands. For example, pancreas. They have characteristics of endocrine and exocrine gland. As you see now, the pancreas on the screen, it secretes the pancreatic juice, as you studied previously in the previous year, you studied in chapter nutrition, the pancreatic juice that secreted through the duct and digests the food. This is the function of exocrine. But the function of the endocrine glands responsible for the secretion of insulin and glucagon hormone. This will be treated more fully later on. The structure. Observe the pancreas and its structure now. Endocrine system. It is known that the human body contains a group of endocrine glands which are situated in different parts of the body. Each gland has a specific secretion which contains one or two groups of hormones. As you see, thymus gland in adult and on fetus, observe difference. It becomes smaller in adult. It is obvious. Observe that. Here you are, the system of endocrine glands. You observe the whole system of endocrine glands and the location of each gland in the body. Focus on it, make a highlight in each location, and each of these glands has its own function. Examples of endocrine gland. It is pituitary gland. It is the master gland. It is the master of the masters. It controls other endocrine glands. It affects and coordinates the function and secretion activities of most of the endocrine glands. It is located beneath the floor of the brain. Observe. Observe, there are many photos that illustrate the location of pituitary gland. Observe this one and also this one. It is small in size. It doesn't exceed for more than 1 or 2 milligrams, but it is the most important one in our body as it controls all endocrine glands. It is connected with the hypothalamus. Observe that, hypothalamus above and the pituitary gland located beneath the hypothalamus and connected to the hypothalamus by infundibulum. Observe that. It consists of 2 parts, adenohypophysis that includes anterior lobe and the middle lobe. You can observe that, as you see on the screen now, the green parts represents the middle lobe. Observe the posterior lobe that lies below the middle lobe and the anterior lobe above. I think it is very clear. Neurohypophysis. It consists of posterior lobe and infundibulum. You can observe also the posterior lobe and infundibulum. It is the stalk that connect gland to the brain. This also demonstrates anatomy of anterior lobe and posterior lobe. As you see, now there is many hormones that are secreted from the pituitary gland. Let's see some of them. As you observe now on the screen, this graph illustrate and demonstrate also the function of these hormones. For example, TSH It is abbreviation to thyroid stimulating hormone that stimulate thyroid gland to secrete their hormones. Also, ACTH, adrenocorticotrophin hormone, that controls and regulates the function of the cortex of the adrenal gland. In addition to gonadotrophic hormones, LH, luteinizing hormone, or liberating hormone that liberate the ovum from the Graafian follicle. Also, FSH, follicle stimulating hormone that stimulate the ovary to form follicles to prepare for the formation of mature ovum. This will be treated more fully later on in reproduction chapter. Also, growth hormone. This growth hormone controls metabolism of the body. Prolactin hormone that stimulate the mammary gland to secrete its secretion. In posterior lobe, we observe two hormones, oxytocin hormone and vasopressin or ADH, antidiuretic hormone, that regulate the amount of urine in the body by reabsorption of essential water and back to the blood. Hormones of adenohypophysis, anterior lobe. Growth hormone, it controls metabolism, especially protein synthesis inside the body cells. So they control physical growth of the body. Hyposecretion during childhood leads to dwarfism. Observe these pictures that represents dwarfism. Hypersecretion in childhood leading to gigantism. Observe gigantism. Observe this person. In adult, leading to acromegaly. You can observe that on this picture of the screen. The distal parts of the long bones, hand, feet, fingers, and toes, and the bones of the face, cheekbones, lower jaw, increased at extremes, as you see now on the screen. Pituitary trophins, a group of hormones that affect the activity and secretion of other glands and includes thyrotrophin hormone, TSH, stimulate thyroid gland to secrete thyroxine. Adrenocorticotrophic hormones, ACTH, which affects the function of the adrenal or suprarenal cortex. Gonadotrophic hormones affect the function of gonads, ovaries, in female, testes, in male. They include FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, in female affect the growth of ovarian follicles, formation of Graafian follicles as well. In male, formation of seminiferous tubules, formation of sperms in testes, formation of prostate gland. As you see, this will be treated more fully later on. As you see, the structure of the sperm, this will be discussed more fully in reproduction. LH, luteinizing hormone, in female, it stimulates the formation of corpus luteum. In male, formation of interstitial cells in testes, secretion of interstitial cells. Prolactin hormone. It stimulates the mammary gland to form and secrete milk for lactation. The secretion of progesterone hormone from the corpus luteum, neurohypophysis hormones that are secreted from posterior lobe. The hormones are secreted from the nerve cells that located in the hypothalamus and the brain. Observe that in this picture, the nerve cells in the posterior lobe. So it is called neurohypophysis. In the previous lesson, we have studied the endocrine system and the pituitary gland, which is the master gland, the master of the masters, that control other endocrine glands in the body by stimulating these glands or inhibition of these glands as well, because it is like the traffic signs, either red or green. Red leads to inhibition and the green leads to activation. God provides the human beings with all conditions necessary for life to be superior over other creatures. So we have to believe the greatness of Allah. That's all for tonight. This is termination. Thank you for joining us. Till we meet again, wishing you all the very best. Have a very good night.